Okay, let's dive right into something that's all around us, but most of us never really see: the physical infrastructure that powers our entire world. It's the foundation of everything we do, but that foundation, it's starting to seriously crack under the weight of the future. And here's a number that just puts it all into perspective. By 2025, analysts are predicting there'll be a mind-boggling 27 billion connected Internet of Things devices online. We're talking smart homes, cars, factory sensors, you name it. And every single one of them is chattering away, sending and receiving data, and putting a kind of pressure on our digital backbone that it was never designed to handle. And it's not just data. At the exact same time, our hunger for electricity is just exploding. This shirt right here shows it all. You've got these power-hungry AI data centers coming online, plus the massive shift to electric cars and homes. It's all creating this insane surge in demand on a power grid that, let's be honest, is decades old in most places. So when you put those two trends together, the data explosion and the energy crunch, it raises this huge, unavoidable question. Are the systems we've been leaning on for the last century, are they actually built for what's coming? Can they really handle this kind of strain? Well, the short and kind of scary answer is no. Our foundational grids for both energy and data, they are being pushed to their absolute breaking point. The old way of doing things, that top-down, centralized model, is just proving to be too slow, too rigid, and way too expensive to keep up. So what's been the first response to this brewing crisis? Well, the logical first step has been to try and make our existing systems a little smarter. To basically retrofit our 28th century grid with some 21st century brains. A huge part of this is bringing thousands of new, smaller power sources into the mix. They're called distributed energy resources, or DERs for short. Just think of your neighbor's rooftop solar panels, a battery pack in a garage, or even an electric vehicle that can push power back to the grid when it's needed most. Now, you can't just have all these little power sources doing their own thing. It'd be chaos, right? You need a conductor for this new, messy orchestra. And that conductor is a really sophisticated software platform known as a DERMS. It basically acts like air traffic control for the power grid, helping utilities see, manage, and optimize all these distributed resources in real time. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, right? But here's the catch. Trying to bolt these nimble new technologies onto a system that was designed over 100 years ago, well, it's a painfully slow and bureaucratic nightmare. And this slide right here, this just shows you the problem perfectly. This is a real-world process for getting a new resource connected to the grid. You have to fight your way through this maze of reviews, studies, fees, and agreements, a journey that can literally take months, if not years. It's just sludge. And all that complexity, all that delay, it just makes you stop and ask. Instead of spending all this time and money trying to patch up this ancient system, what if we could just build a completely new one from the ground up, designed for the world we actually live in today? And that very question brings us to a radical new blueprint for building physical infrastructure, one that pretty much flips the old model completely on its head. This slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got the old way, massive upfront investment, slow bureaucracy. And on the right, you've got this new model that's emerging called DePIN. That stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure. It's all about crowdsourcing capital and opening the doors to innovation. So what in the world are DePINs? Well, simply put, they're real-world infrastructure networks that are built, operated, and owned by a community. So instead of one giant company spending billions, DePINs use crypto tokens as an incentive to get people and companies all over the world to contribute their own hardware and build the network together. Now, this might sound a little bit abstract, so let's look at some real-world examples that are already up and running today. This isn't just theory. This stuff is actually happening right now. This table shows just a few. You've got Helium, which pays regular people in tokens to set up little 5G hotspots in their homes. Then you've got HiveMapper, which pays drivers to use a special dash cam to build a global map, kind of like a decentralized Google Street View. And GeoNet, paying people to set up satellite stations to create a hyper-accurate GPS network. Let's just zoom in on Helium Mobile for a second, because it's a fantastic case study. They offer a cell phone plan for just $20 a month. Now, how is that even possible? Well, instead of building billions of dollars of their own cell towers, they pay regular people in tokens to run these mini 5G hotspots. Your phone then automatically uses this cheaper, community-owned network whenever it can. It creates this amazing economic flywheel where everybody wins: the users, the hotspot owners, and the network itself. So here's the really crucial point. This model allows for unbelievably fast growth. This quote about HiveMapper says it all, really. The community got more done in 1 year than a traditional company could in 3 to 5. That is the incredible power of mobilizing a global community when you get the incentives just right. So you can see, this new paradigm, it isn't just some niche idea for tech geeks. No way. It represents a truly fundamental shift in how we can build, fund, and operate the physical world all around us. The DePIN advantage is just crystal clear. First, it's radically faster to deploy at a global scale. It's also way cheaper since you replace slow bureaucracy with efficient on-chain settlement on a blockchain. It's much more resilient because there's no single point of failure to attack. And maybe most exciting of all, it's wide open for anyone to innovate on top of. And because these networks provide real, tangible services that people actually want and pay for, their economies have proven to be way more resilient. Just look at this chart. During the last big crypto downturn, revenue from these DePIN networks fell way less than in other speculative parts of the market. Why? Because they're grounded in actual real-world value. So, if you take away one thing from all this, it should be this. DePIN isn't just a new technology. It's a completely new economic engine. It's a new way to coordinate people and money at a massive scale to build the physical world faster, cheaper, and more fairly than we ever thought possible. And this all leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought. For centuries, infrastructure was something that was done to us by massive corporations and governments. But what happens when anyone, anywhere, can become a builder? What happens when the next cell tower isn't a coffee shop and the next power plant is actually distributed across thousands of your neighbors' garages? That's the world DePIN is starting to build.